Peace. left, face. Sir, permission to post colors.
Please post the colors.
Colors, post.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Those first. March. Right, face. Mark time, march. Forward, march.
Thank you. Please be seated. Mr. Maravich, solicitor's announcement.
Second is on non-agenda items pursuant to board policy and the Sunshine Law. Permitted opportunity to provide the board with matters that are or may come before us.
Thank you. And you have some public participation. Thank you. Okay, these are both non-agenda, so we'll do these at the end of the meeting. Any other communications? No. The board, no, it's okay. No other communications. The board did meet in executive session prior to tonight's meeting for a personnel issue. Moving on to approval of the minutes, looking for motion to approve the minutes for the school board meeting on September 4th, 2018 as presented. Mr. Hopp, thank you. Second. Mr. Martin, thank you. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Treasurer's report, Mr. Martin.
Yes, Mr. President, I submit for approval tonight the Treasurer's report, the Capital Reserve Fund, the Construction Fund report, the General Fund Investment report, Capital Reserve Investment report, the General Fund summary, and the General Fund balance sheet.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Ehrlich, thank you. Second. Mrs. Cocker, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Huff?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Payment of bills, Mr. Martin.
Mr. President, I submit for payment tonight from the General Fund 1718, $60,204.27. For the General Fund 1819, $2,283,515.38. The Capital Reserve from 1718, 407.97. The Capital Reserve 18-19, $96,755.17. And the Construction Fund B for 217, $860,543.41.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the payment of bills? Mr. Ehrlich, thank you. Second. Mr. Hart, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Huff?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. And finally, Mr. Martin, financial reports, please.
Mr. President, I submit for approval of financial reports for the high school activity report, 2018 high school activity fund, the West Board financial summary, the West check request, the Southern Board financial summary, the Southern Board check request, child balance sheet, the child care disbursements, and the child care statement of revenue and expenses, the food service balance sheet, food service disbursement summary, and the food service revenue and expense.
Thank you. Looking for a motion to approve those reports. Mr. Ehrlich, Mr. Case, second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Moving on to the superintendent's report, Dr. Fadley.
Thank you, President Wolf. It's my privilege this evening to present the superintendent's report, personnel and program recommendations as presented.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to accept that report? Mr. Hart, second. Mr. Ehrlich, thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Cocker? Yes. Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy? Yes. Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Moving along to approval of the following field trips. First one is the biology trip to Wallops Island and Chincoteague. Second is the high school Germany trip. 7.3 is the orchestra trip to Cleveland, Ohio. And 7.4 is the AP Bio trip to Jamaica. Do I have a motion to approve those trips? Mr. Case, thank you. Dr. Kennedy, second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy? Yes. Mrs. Cocker? Yes. Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Moving on to HR, looking for a motion to approve the recommendation from administration for the board approval of the resolution to discharge employee Elaine Smith. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Negrini, thank you. Mr. Hart, second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy? Yes. Mrs. Cocker? Yes. Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Moving on to pupil services, looking for a motion in 9.1 to grant permission to approve the settlement agreement and release as presented. 9.2, looking for a motion to approve to contract with Austil's Rehabilitation Services, subject to the final solicitor negotiations and approval. 9.3, motion to approve to contract with Wyomissing School District, Conrad Weiser Area School District, and Schuylkill Valley School District to receive tuition as presented. 9.4, motion to approve to contract with Conrad Weiser Decision School, subject to the final solicitor negotiations and approval. And 9.5, motion to approve waive tuition for the following students per board policy 202. We have a Green Valley third grade student from September 4th through September 12th, a Cornwall Terrace fourth grade student from September 4th through September 12th, a Spring Ridge fifth grade student from August 27th through September 28th. That was just a change of end date. And then a Southern Middle School, 3 sixth grade students and 1 eighth grade student from September 4th through September 12th. Do I have a motion for 9.1 through 9.5? Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. Mr. Ehrlich, second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Under operations, 10.1, looking for a motion to approve to advertise for bids for the district-wide maintenance and repair project. Do I have a motion for that? Mr. Negrini, Mr. Case, second. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
11.1, looking for a motion to accept the July 1st, 2012 through June 30th, 2016 performance audit of the Wilson School District issued by the Pennsylvania Department of the Auditor General. 11.2, looking for a motion to request approval for the budget transfers dated June 30th, 2018. And 11.3, requesting approval to award the 2018-2019 winter spring athletic supplies bids as noted on the attached list. Do I have a motion for those three? Mr. Martin, thank you. Second. Mr. Ehrlich, thank you. Roll call, please.
Dr. Kennedy?
Yes.
Mrs. Cocker?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Thank you. Under curriculum and staff development, we have 12.1 requesting approval of the book Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds to be approved as a whole group text for a basic instruction text for grade 9 reading strategies. 12.2, request approval for The Killing Seed by Richard Lewis to be approved as a whole group text for a basic instruction text for grade 8 ELA. 12.3, looking for a request to approve the contract with Great Minds LLC for October 8th, 2019 to provide professional development for elementary teachers on the Eureka Math program, subject to solicitor review. The cost of the training is $5,200. Do I have a motion for 12.1 through 12.3? Dr. Kennedy, thank you. Second, Mr. Hart. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Hopper? Yes. Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy? Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Under transportation, 13.1, requesting approval of the PASBO transportation consulting proposal as attached and presented. 13.2, looking for a motion to request approval of bus routes and stops for the school year 2018-2019, subject to administrative changes throughout the year as needed. 13.3, motion to approve a transportation contract with Gaiman's Mennonite School for the school year 2018-2019, subject to final solicitor negotiations and approval. 13.4, request approval of the TransFinder proposal for transportation bus routing consulting services per final solicitor review. 13.5, motion to approve the bus operation service agreement with Governor Mifflin School District for the 2018-2019 school year, subject to final solicitor negotiation and approval. And 13.6, looking for a motion to approve to advertise for bus bids for the school year 2018-2019. I have a motion for 13.1 through 13.6. Mr. Case, thank you. Second, Mr. Martin. Roll call, please. Comments, Mr. Hart?
And we're still looking to improve those as we go through the year, though. Just because, okay.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Negrini?
Yes.
Mr. Case?
Yes.
Mr. Ehrlich?
Yes.
Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hop?
Yes.
Dr. Kennedy? Yes. Mrs. Hopper? Yes. Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
9-4, 0 against.
Thank you. Moving on to committee reports. BCTC, Mr. Case.
We have not met as a BCTC group since our last board meeting, so the next meeting will be September 26th at BCTC West.
Okay, thank you. Berks County IU, Dr. Kennedy.
We have an IU board meeting this Thursday, and for the curriculum committee, we have a curriculum meeting September 18th at 4 o'clock in Dr. Flannery's office.
Okay. Thank you. Berks EIT, Mrs. Schlossman, anything there?
The next meeting is September 27th, and Mike Martin is joining us.
Okay, thank you. Under extracurricular, at our last meeting, we discussed a couple things I just wanted to bring the board up to speed on. First of all, something that will also be discussed with facilities, we are looking at a feasibility study just to address our lack of baseball and softball fields at this point. We're at a point where we do not have enough fields for all of our middle school and high school programs. I believe we have the space to do it. It's just a matter of rearranging the direction some of the fields are facing and potentially looking at maybe bringing the varsity field back to the high school campus, which I think is advantageous. It makes more sense logistically for transportation as well. So that'll probably be brought up with facilities as well at some point in the near future here. And then also just an update, at this point we've approved policy 915 and the athletic department has met with those boosters. They demonstrated they have a really nice setup on the website through Google Docs where those boosters can upload the required documents right onto the website. Should be very simple for them to comply with this new policy. On an update with our fall teams, Currently, cross country, boys cross country and girls cross country are currently 2-1. Field hockey is still on a roll. They did drop a league game to Exeter, but they are currently at 7-1. Football is 2-2. The golf team remains undefeated at 12-0. Boys soccer is 5-1-1. Girls soccer also 5-1-1. Girls tennis is 5-3. Girls volleyball 3-1. And both boys and girls water polo are 5-0. They did host that Beast of the East tournament this weekend as well. That concludes extracurricular facilities. Mr. Negrini.
Our next meeting is October the 8th at 4:30 at Operations to discuss the aforementioned softball, baseball feasibility study, as well as other potential projects.
Okay.
That's my report.
Thank you. Finance, Mr. Ehrlich.
No report.
Okay. HR, Mr. Hart. Mr. Martin, legislative, anything?
Nothing really going on, although it's still window dressing time for the elections. And there was a proposal brought forward to use any any funds left over that do not make it into the stabilization reserve fund to be applied to a new fund called the unfunded pension liability. I did some math, and right now the unfunded liability is about $70 billion. It would take 740 years at the present rate of funding the stabilization reserve fund to cover the pension fund. Just I throw that out. So it's pretty meaningless. It's just window dressing.
Thank you. Ms. Troutman, you have public relations,
Yep.
and then I think you're also going to read the student report
I will,
as well.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
I will. So just one item under Wilson Good News. We want to congratulate Sindora Shridhar, who is currently a sixth grader at Southern Middle School. She won an international award in June for her short story, No More Answers. She actually wrote the story last year when she was a fifth grader at Cornwall Terrace, and that whole event was sponsored by the Women's Club of Spring Township. So we're super proud of Sindora, and we did promote her achievements on district communications this past week. Under PR, students and staff across the district honored the memory of 9/11 this past week. And the Reading Eagle did feature photos of two of the events that took place, the JROTC placing flags throughout the high school campus and the flagpole ceremony at Green Valley. On Thursday, September 13th, the Wilson iSTEM Faculty Administration hosted an iSTEM Mentor Open House to kick off the mentor program for the 2018-2019 school year. So in addition to having numerous mentors who attended the event, we had a lot of students who attended who were in the program last year and excelled with their projects. So they were on hand to display their projects and talk with the potential mentors. It was just a great night, and we were thrilled. The Reading Eagle was there as well the entire time and ran a great article about our STEM program in last Friday's paper. And the Wilson Theater Company is presenting its first main stage production of the year on October 4th, 5th, and 6th. So you can purchase tickets for Boeing on their theater company website. And finally, Wilson's 2018 Homecoming is this Friday, which is crazy. It's already homecoming. So Friday, September 21st. The event kicks off with an induction ceremony for the Wilson Athletic Hall of Fame class of 2018 at 5 p.m. right here in this room. And then the Hall of Fame inductees will also be recognized during halftime during the football game, as well as naming of this year's homecoming court. And this week we're going to be doing a lot of promotion of homecoming to encourage our alumni to come back this Friday night. And then Chris Rousseau, who is our student outreach rep, is currently at a water polo game, so I'm going to give his report. So he says, it's been another busy 2 weeks at Wilson. Freshmen continue to acclimate to high school life with the help of the Link Crew members. Before the home football game against Springford, they held a freshman tailgate with food, games, and music, and the Link Crew leaders are diligently planning their next freshman-oriented event. Despite another rainy weekend, Minithon was able to raise money for pediatric cancer research through their Gold Out weekend festivities. Minithon committee members gathered donations at the home football game, washed cars at First National Bank, and sold baked goods at Redner's Market. And I already mentioned this, but on 9/11, students began the day with a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. At the high school, JROTC cadets lined walkways and curbs with American flags. And parents were welcome to the high school last week to meet their children's teachers. With a very large and often confusing campus, we were fortunate to have the help of student government members and JROTC cadets. They helped direct parents to classes and provide insight into the overall school day. Additionally, the Future Business Leaders of America provided parents with the opportunity to send a sweet message to their children by packaging Hershey Kisses. And finally, this upcoming week, many of the fall varsity sports will be competing against our biggest rival, Governor Mifflin. And additionally, our Pink Out football game will be held on October 5th at the First Energy Stadium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Wolf, just
Yes.
wanted to add, today was my introduction to the Public Relations Committee. I was met with Dr. Fadley and Ms. Troutman today. Just one of the things that we discussed that that I'd like to start doing, because this is my first time ever on this committee, and I'd like to take advantage of it, is I'm going to try to at least monthly, if not twice a month, get out to each individual building to see something at the suggestion of Dr. Fadley or Ms. Troutman, something unique and special that our teachers are doing or our administrators are doing in each building from a public relations standpoint, to acknowledge what they're doing and to just to have them see another board member that's out there caring about what they do.
Thank you. I appreciate your efforts, and I think there's probably going to be countless opportunities for really great things that are happening. So I appreciate you taking the effort to do that. And as a parent of twins who had to try to navigate the high school last week, two schedules at the same time, I appreciate those cadets and students being available to point me in the right direction. It's not the same school I walked through 25 years ago, I can tell you that. So thank you to them for their efforts. Mr. Maravich, and I'm sorry, we still have Ed Foundation, Mr. Case.
Just a few reminders. The first WEF full board meeting of the school year will be on Friday, September 28th, 2018. And the WEF online auction is officially open, and we're advertising the Bulldog Blitz, the remaining open houses, Meet the Teacher nights, and at home Wilson football games. We will post share on social media as well, and winners will be announced at the Gridiron Classic on October 5th. So there's a link online in the minutes, and I'm sure with the advertising there'll be a link as well. So, and lastly, tickets to the WEF Casino Bash will go on sale, or they're actually on sale now. The event will be held at the Berkshire Country Club on Saturday, November 17th at 6:30 p.m. We will be presenting the 2018 Legacy Award to Roy G. Snyder, and tickets will be $100 per person, which includes dinner, beer, wine, casino games, raffles, prizes, live music by Scott, man, all sorts of great things. So we hope to see everybody there and even more people than beyond this room. So it's going to be a great time.
What's the date of that?
That is November 17th. Probably California Casual or... I don't know. Anybody? What is the dress policy? Not policy, but dress up.
Is that like a Lakers jersey or what? What's California?
I think last year at the event it was sort of suits or, you know, nice shirt.
I went like this, pretty much without a tie.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for the report. Technology, anything, Mrs. Cocker?
No updates, but we have our next meeting October 1st at 4 o'clock.
Okay. Mr. Maravich, anything under solicitor notes?
No report.
Okay. We do have two public participation slips here. Mr. Andy Smith would like to talk about the Wilson Junior Soccer Club. You can take the podium up here.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Andy Smith. I'm with the Wilson Junior Soccer Club, and I'm just here tonight really to say thank you to the board, to Mr. Kaufman, Mr. Trickett, and Mr. Fick for their efforts to allow our club to use some facilities this fall. Our main facility has been underwater since the beginning of August over at Kukuzing, and through the efforts of Chris Trickett and Drew Kaufman, we've been able to get games in the last 2 weekends and some practices, and it's made life a little bit easier. So I just want to say thank you for allowing us to use facilities.
We're thrilled that our community groups like you are using it. That's part of the reason that we made those improvements. So thank you for taking advantage of it, and hope you continue to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Ms. Stephanie Sademeyer's here to talk about 6th grade camp.
Hello.
Hi.
So I had a whole thing written down to say, but I only get 3 minutes, so I'm going to try and condense that. I have a son in 6th grade. He's my oldest. And so only this year did I find out about 6th grade camp, to Camp Swatara. I was filling out the paperwork, and I was surprised to see that the cost to the families is $75 per child to cover the cost of food, which I thought was a lot because I do have friends who have children in other school districts who pay less. I have a friend in Hamburg. They pay less. They pay about $35 to $40. I have a good friend in Conrad Weiser. They send their kids for longer. They send their kids for a full 5 days, and they're only paying like $45. So that got me wondering, maybe Camp Swatara is really fancy? I don't know why it costs so much. So I looked up Camp Swatara, which I had never heard of, and I was surprised to find that Camp Swatara isn't just a camp. It is, in fact, a pervasively religious retreat. It is owned and operated by the Church of the Brethren, and if you click on their website, it says that their purpose is to, provide opportunities in the natural setting for persons of all ages to grow in their relationship with Jesus Christ so that they may give over their lives to Him in total discipleship. When I explored their website further, I found that there's religious iconography in almost all of the pictures of the camp. The buildings have Latin crosses on the, like designating, it'll say like West Lodge with a Latin cross. The big halls have crosses inlaid into the wall. It's like an architectural feature, it seems. There are freestanding crosses outside on the campgrounds. And I thought, I don't know how this is not a gross violation of the Establishment Clause. Okay. So their website has that, all kinds of religious iconography and language. Their Facebook page is filled with it. So I did call the principal, Dr. Burnham, I think his name is, and I had a lot of questions for him, like how long has Wilson been using Camp Swatara? He said he thinks it's possibly as long as 22 years. 22 years, yeah. I wanted to know what criteria was used to select Camp Swatara, aside from cost, and I wasn't really given an answer. I asked if other secular alternatives were considered, and he seemed to say that the only time in one time in recent memory, other venues were looked into, but on the basis of cost, which again I question because other school districts are doing it cheaper. Camp Swatara was chosen. 22 years without, and maybe only one time, other venues being looked into, rather does lend itself to a violation of church and state. The longer a contract like that goes on, from what I've read, the more it lends itself to being a violation. I had questions like, does the lease agreement with Camp Swatara automatically renew? Is it just a one-time thing every year? And are there any safeguards in the contract which would prevent the Church of the Brethren from using the money that comes from the Wilson School District, which is government taxpayer money, to further their ministry or to proselytize? And he was unaware. He was unable to tell me whether or not the contract had safeguards in. And that is against the law for a church to be using government money to further their ministry. And he could not tell me that there was, in fact, any safeguard. I did call Camp Swatara myself and ask them specifically what they use the monies for. And they said they use it to maintain the buildings and that they also use it to run their summer camps. If you go on their website and look at their summer camps, it's all religion. Every program. I went on their website and I searched all of their summer camp programs. They're having church services, basically. Okay, the religious icons are on display. They're not covered up. I objected. I asked them to be covered up while the Wilson students were in residence. Dr. Burnham repeatedly told me, no, there's never been a problem before, which I don't think has ever been an acceptable answer for anything. It's never been a problem before. No, that's not okay. He said that the Wilson School District official position is that they're not going to ask the camp to cover up or remove the iconography while the students are in residence. Again, he reiterated about 25 times it's never been a problem before. I asked him if Camp Swatara would have won the contract if it was a camp run by Satanists or pagans or Wiccans or Muslims. Would they have even been considered? And if they had won the contract, does he think that there might have been a problem if all those accompanying Satanist, Wiccan, pagan, Muslim iconography had been on display? Does he think that maybe there would have been a problem in the past if those images would have been on display to the students while they were in residence? And he just kept saying, it's never been a problem before, it's never been a problem before. I object. Also, I would say that... Okay, well, I just also, in closing, I would like to say that the Church of the Brethren does discriminate against the LGBTQ community. So, there's that. Thanks.
My understanding, Dr. Fagley, that any family or student that does not wish to attend sixth grade camp will be provided appropriate education during those particular times.
That voluntariness does not excuse the obligation to remain neutral. It is not a defense. It's not a legal defense, and that's been upheld in court. That the opting out does not make it okay. It does not change the obligation on the government to keep church and state separate.
You are correct. Parents does not want their child to attend this particular event. The child is not obligated to go, and they are given an alternative assignment if they choose to have one.
And we can say out loud that the only thing that Camp Swatara does for us is cook. Everything else,
Yes.
Everything else is done by Wilson faculty.
Both Dr. Flannery, Matt Flannery, and I attended last year to observe the camp events during the day, and Dr. Kennedy, you are correct. They provide the food, and our staff handles all the other curriculum.
But, I mean, both my boys attended, and I don't remember them ever mentioning anything about any religious undertones during the experience at this point. But you know, appreciate. I'm sorry.
Let's move on.
It is when you walk down the street too, but you know. Okay. All right, we're going to move on. Thank you for your comments. Is there any other business from the board? Okay, hearing none, looking for a motion to adjourn. Mr. Hopp, thank you. Mr. Hart, second. Thank you. We're adjourned.